Today, I'm going to run through the level 100 target in the main raid, and this raid is a little bit harder, if not a lot harder, for most players. Hey everyone, Derpy here, welcome back to another Battle Pirates target. As we get started here, notice I am just using 4 ships, which is my standard practice these days for the first raid. I try and get 4 ships at a high upgrade level. I actually missed out and they're not very highly upgraded today. U2 upgrade is especially important here. I'm missing my flag at U2, I don't quite have that. What you just saw me do is I looped in and killed that first ship and kept moving the entire time when I'm in this target. Combat speed is especially important in this thing. Once that first one's down, I kill these 2 decoy buildings so they don't do anything later. They tend to get off track and force you to manually target things. After that, charge in towards this missile turret and kill this, knock it down really quick. That's a great thing to do. You can actually get in range of it before it surfaces. I don't think that helps because you can't actually kill it until it starts firing at you, so you're a little bit too late. Now spend some time and outrange these 2 corrosive turrets, move in towards them and kill the second one if you have to, if it doesn't die already, and make sure you're just pressing the down arrow to stop your ships before anything too fancy gets out of the way. Next up, this is important to go off to the right and grab these 2 buildings here, so you can charge past these other few ships right here without really being distracted. If you don't do quite enough damage, it may be helpful to go in a big loop right here first before charging past these 2, but you do want to make sure you're shooting at those, not at the different drones themselves. You want to be firing at the big ships and using splash to kill the drones. Once that, depending on how many limited weapons you have and a bunch of other factors right here, you might have to do a few loops to kill these 2 turrets. Just make sure if you are turning around, you're doing that not when something is fired at you. Now that those are down, we're going to try and get a little bit of splash damage off on this guy. Your mileage may vary depending on your splash special. Now that is dead, we're going to do another big loop here and try and kill these 2 ships here while staying moving and not triggering this third one. It's going to be pretty tricky here, but basically a little bit of circles on the inside here. Try and stay moving if at all possible, and try and stay shooting at something to keep triggering off those drone shockwaves, so you keep killing them and they don't stay around and try and keep shooting at you. One really helpful tip is that if you do ever have a bunch of drones shooting at you, you can press 0, and that will let all selected ships target a different closest enemy. So you have 5 ships, targets the 5 closest enemies, all separate ones, which is really helpful. Again, spend some time here to kill the extra buildings that are on the outside out of the way here, so you don't waste your volleys at those ones. Then you can get close here, and you don't have to trigger these ships, but you can start shooting at those main ships right here. All of these drones are still moving around, which is helpful. Press 0 to make sure all those drones are dying really quickly. You don't want to keep them alive here. They really hate the flagship and really target that and do massive damage towards it. Now we just have a few things left here. You can go on the outside here and stay moving. Try and get away from this big one so it's not shooting at you. Stop, outrange the little guy. And then move in, do a few duck and weaves, bob and weaves, whatever you want to call it. Back and forth when this big guy goes down. Try and stay at max range of everything else so they're not shooting at you. And from this, it's the target dead. If you do miss any ships towards the end of the target, any buildings rather, you can press S and the ships will go move and find them, and they'll get those down pretty quickly. But this is the 3.5-4 minute raiding of this target for reasonably low repair, at least all things considered. Let's go ahead and take a look at the damage, the battle report, and the build. So most of my damage is actually penetrative, and for this reason, the Sea Serpent's crew is going to be more helpful, because that reduces both penetrative damage, and that's about it. Steelheads is important in the case where they're much more equal, or you're taking more corrosive, because Steelheads does help against corrosive. So Sea Serpents helps against if you have more penetrative right here, you want to go with that. Otherwise, Steelheads is the way to go. The bonus mention, especially if you don't have both of the combat speed specials I have on here, is the Silent Hunter's crew that is helpful for avoiding some corrosive damage. In terms of the damage itself, this is 30 minutes and 50 seconds, which is pretty high for me for the first raid, although I'm going to blame it on the flagship only being at U1. I completely understand, I completely sympathize if you all are only having yours at U0 U1 as well. I am in that same boat right now. I do have 1 ship up to X1, which was done with tokens from 1 from Pillage, 5 from the TLC, and the other ones are at U2. You also notice I am a few armor short because my shipyard was not running at 100% efficiency the entire time. and I have gone for more missile armor on, well, pretty much balanced missile and corrosive, all things together right now. Looks like I'll be going for 2 of 2 by the second raid, even though my original plan was for 3 corrosive and 1 missile. There is the video right here. If you do have any questions and want to see anything before the one-on-one video, definitely go ahead and let me know in the comments below. Anyway, and until next time, this is going to be Derpy saying thank you to everyone whose name appears on screen now, and as always, helping you be a better pirate.